March 7, 2024 meeting of the Town of Southampton Zoning Board of Appeals. This meeting is being held live and also via video conferencing in accordance with the Town Board's enactment of Local Law Number 14 of 2022, adopted on May 24, 2022. Our next meeting and those following also will be held in person here at Town Hall and will continue to allow for remote participation, so please keep checking the town's website for updates and any new information. If you wish to view tonight's live meeting only and not participate, please do not join the Zoom meeting and instead go to the town's website for viewing access. With that, I'd like you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For those of you with us tonight, in case of an emergency evacuation, please exit through the rear doors of this room to one of the staircases across the hall and continue downstairs and out through the main entrance. Do not attempt to use the elevators during an emergency evacuation. In case of a medical emergency, the automated external defibrillator and first aid kit are both located in the hallway on this floor opposite the elevator. Restrooms are located across the hall from this room. We'll begin this meeting with public hearings. We have applicants and members of the public here with us live and also standing by via Zoom webinar, which is being moderated by CTV. CTV will mute the speakers on Zoom until it is their time to give testimony before the board. Please be patient. If you find you're having difficulties accessing the hearing, visit the town clerk's meeting portal and click on the instructions link. Also, for those of you in this boardroom, please silence your cell phones and refrain from speaking to one another as it interferes with the recording of our proceedings. Tonight, board member Helen Burgess is participating via Zoom and member Keith Tuthill is absent. A reminder that applicants, agents, and members of the public speaking other than attorneys will be sworn in, will state their address for the record, and will offer their testimony as it relates to the application before the board. In order to consider properly every application before us tonight, individuals speaking on a particular application have a time limit of 3 minutes. Also, before handing in any submissions to the board tonight, please make sure that the documents identify the ZBA application name and tax map number. The application name should also be written on all your certified receipts. Unless otherwise stated at the end of an individual application, unless otherwise stated at the end of an individual application hearing, all applications will remain open for written comments for all purposes until a date given. Those written comments can be addressed to the members of the board and sent via email, mail, and/or dropped off at Town Hall to the board secretary, Candace Cowell. At this time, I would like a motion to approve the minutes of our February 15, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Okay, minutes are approved. John, would you like to take us through the agenda?
Yes, we're going to begin with the adjournments first. Case number 6, modification request. This application has been re-advertised for the March 21st meeting. Case number 8, application of Emily McCarthy, 7 Quantuck Bay Lane, Queog, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-359-5-5. This application will be adjourned to the April 4th meeting.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye.
John, before you move forward, could you just do the same thing with number 7? I printed that before.
Oh, sure.
Number 7.
Number 7 to 9.
7, okay. Application of John T. Montecalvo et al., 1129, 1089, and 1169 Spionk Riverhead Road, Suffolk County, Remsenburg, Spionk, Suffolk County Tax Map numbers 900-301-2-6, 7, and 8. This application will be adjourned to the April 4th meeting. To the September 5th meeting, excuse me.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Okay. Turning to the decision calendar. Following decisions will be adjourned to the March 21st meeting. Eric J. Belfi and Tara Belfi, 370 Fowler Street LLC, SA 123 LLC.
We gotta reopen those and
Yeah,
then.
skip those.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Eric, so going back. Decisions adjourned to the March 21st meeting. Eric J. Belfi and Tara Belfi, 370 Fowler Street LLC, Town of Southampton Housing Authority, Roberto Came, Mark Smith and Heather Cole, Ronette Riley, J10 Properties LLC, Dilip Patel and Sabjit Kaur Dillon, Aaron Appel and Alexander Vayman.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye.
Okay, I make a motion to reopen the application of Yellow Shack LLC to accept written submissions.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye.
I move to close with a decision to be rendered later on this evening.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, I make a motion to reopen the application of SA 123 LLC to accept written submissions.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
I move to close with a decision to be rendered on March 21st.
Second.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Move to reopen the application of 249 Surfside LLC to accept written submissions.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye.
I move to close with a decision to be rendered on March 21st.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Number one on the calendar, on the agenda, excuse me, 11 Watermill LLC, 11 Water Heights Watermill, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-64-3-6.4. Applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-6 General Regulations that references Section 330-11 Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for a principal rear yard setback from the required 100 feet to 94.6 feet for a proposed addition to the rear of the one-family dwelling and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction.
This is a minor variance, so it does not require a public hearing. We will render a decision at the end of the meeting tonight.
Close the record.
Close the record on this and render a decision tonight.
Okay, do we need a
Second.
vote on that? Okay. Second. Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye.
Okay. Number two on the agenda, Changi, 13 Ochre Lane, Shinnecock Hills, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-211-2-20. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code. 1, for proposed additions, Section 330-84D Pyramid Law, for a sky plane encroachment of 584 cubic feet on the west side of the west and north additions. And 2, for an exterior basement entry, Section 330-76D, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in all districts, and Section 330-83C and D, yards, to allow the exterior basement entry to be located within the total required side yard for the principal building on a non-conforming lot and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction. Bob, do you have a folder on this? Candace,
Sir,
is
you
Bob
want
the
some?
lead?
Yes.
Can you pass this to Bob? Thanks.
You come right here.
Are you an attorney?
No, Miguel Weinstein.
Okay. You want to raise your hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and address.
Miguel Weinstein, 41 Yukon Drive, Woodbury, New York, 11797.
Okay, Miguel.
All right, tell us what's going on.
Good evening. I'm the architect representing the owner, Changi. We are requesting the relief for the pyramid law for the sky plane encroachment of 584 cubic feet to the west side for a second floor addition, and a relief for the placement of an exterior basement entry located within the total required side yard. The landmark board already reviewed our application and had issue a letter of decision with no objections to the additions, reframing of the house, and the new materials to be used in the construction of the house. No change will be produce any change of the character of the neighborhood or with this area variance. The request is not substantial, pretty small, and there is no any physical impact to the environment, to the neighborhood or the district. The difficulty was not self-created because the property was in single and separate ownership before the zoning implementations of 1957. We have also a letter from the neighbor from the north side of the property in favor of the application.
Thanks. Yes, that's Bob?
Sorry.
Okay, so as I understand it, this is for an access to the basement,
Correct.
and it is set back from the side, how far? Side property line?
12 feet and 8.5 inches.
And that you have pre-existing permission, pre-existing certificate of compliance for some of the other
Correct. They are-
setbacks, yeah, right, that you had originally listed, but now the building department has determined is not required for a
Correct.
variance.
Yes.
Okay. And the cubic foot pyramid relief request is minor.
It's really minor.
It's very minor, and the setback, in my opinion, is minor too. Bob, I know you're taking this over tonight. Is there any particular questions you might have on this?
No, I mean, minimal relief on the pyramid and the entrance to the basement, no other access to the basement,
No, well, through the house.
other than inside the
Yeah,
house?
but today with the new laws, you have to have an exit,
Right.
a secondary exit.
Is the
Right,
basement finished? No.
No.
Yeah,
right,
I have no problem with it.
okay. Anybody else on the board wish to comment?
No?
John?
No.
Okay, before you leave, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to comment on the application of 13 Ochre Lane, Shinnecock Hills?
Excuse me. Thank you.
That doesn't count. Is there anybody on Zoom who wishes to comment on this application? Okay, Bob, it's yours.
So I'll move to close the meeting, hold it open for written submissions until March 22nd with a decision on April 4th.
Second.
Mr. Mastonio.
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, good luck.
No,
I think.
Okay. Number 3 on the agenda, Irene Vagianos and Martin Whelan, 29 Romana Drive, Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-292-2-64. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for proposed detached garage on non-conforming lot. 1, Section 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Section 330-83C, yards, to allow the detached garage to be located within the required minimum side yard and required total side yard for the principal building and any other relief necessary.
Is there anybody here on this application? You need to come up, I need your affidavit of posting. Are you representing the applicant, or are you the applicant?
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
working at the architect's office. Do you need the
Yep.
letters as well?
Yep. Perfect, thank you. The board has jurisdiction.
Okay.
So you can check.
I'm going to swear you in unless you're an attorney.
Oh, no, I'm not an attorney.
Okay. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Samantha Detmer, 107 Montauk Highway, Brookline.
Samantha, what was your last name?
Detmer, Dettmer.
DETTMR.
M as in Mary, ER.
Okay, and you represent, you're the architect's
I'm-
firm, right?
yes.
Okay. Okay, so tell us about the application.
So we have an accessory building, that is sort of nestled within a corner of the footprint of the house, but non-attached. And so it does meet the 1957 ruling setback on the side yard, but because it's tucked into the corner of the house, it seems to fall under the overall side setback on the property. So we're trying to get some relief for that to be able to keep the house. It is in the position of the original carport on the property, so,
But it's not attached.
but it's not attached,
Okay,
no.
so, and the relief that you're looking for is, hold on a second.
Is 4 feet 8 inches,
And you have a wetlands permit.
yes.
Okay, and it's within the required minimum side yard and total side yard, so that's the relief that you need. Okay. All right, this is Helen's. Has anybody got any particular questions on this?
I do not.
So it's basically taking up where the carport was before.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yeah, and it just,
It's enclosed now as opposed to just a,
Correct.
a roof over it or
Yeah.
whatever, okay, okay. Seems to be minimal request,
Yes.
I agree.
okay. Any other questions from the board? All right, I'm going to ask, is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application of 29 Romana Drive in Hampton Bays? Please come forward.
Either there or the podium, either one.
The podium is good. Sure. I mean, just speak right at the podium into the microphone.
Okay, but before you speak, I need to swear you in,
Oh,
unless you are attorneys.
I'm not an attorney.
Okay, are you both going to speak?
Well, she can speak too.
Okay. Okay, fine, that's good. All right, so. do
You just have to be by
Well,
a
one at a
microphone.
time. Why don't, ma'am, why don't you sit down? And sir, if you could stand and
They
speak
could
into
do
the...
this, they could do the swearing in together, and then I'll just ask them to give their names separately. Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, please state your name and your address separately.
My name is Clifford Mayenza. I'm the owner.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Clifford Mayenza. I'm the
Spell
owner.
his last name for me.
Please spell
Could you
your
spell
last
that,
name.
please?
Maenza.
M-A-E-N-Z-A.
Maenza.
Okay, and,
I'm at 31 Romana Drive, Hampton Bays, New York,
okay,
11946.
okay, and your name?
Well, she has to come to the microphone.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
one
to the
at-
microphone
why don't you
because
do it
we're
one at a
recording
time?
this, yeah.
Yes, my name is Antonina Wilson. I'm on 26 Romana Drive, Hampton Bays.
Okay, you just spell your first name.
Antonina is Antonina.
I didn't get A-N-T-O-I-N.
N-I-N-A.
Yeah,
And where was your address again?
26 Romana Drive.
Okay, good.
Okay, Antonina, I still need your last name.
Wilson,
W-I-L.
S-O-N.
That's the one. I got it. Thank you.
Okay, so, who wants to go first?
I guess
Okay,
The original footprint of the house, including where the carport was approximately 22 feet away from the property line. Now, when they bumped out the pool, it went 15.5 feet away. Now, with the new proposed garage, it's gonna be down to 10.2 feet away from the property line. Also, they also have an electrical service adjacent to the property. Now, I spoke to the building inspector, I mentioned to him, it's supposed to be, all equipment's supposed to be 10 feet away, is that possible?
yes.
Electrical service equipment?
What do you mean by electrical service equipment?
They have the service, that you put your
The
meters
box?
on. It's a separate
It's the box,
standing
yeah.
pole.
Yeah.
It seemed to be close, so I was just wondering, is that okay?
Is that part of the garage?
No.
It's
Okay, so
separate,
then that's not part of this
No, that's-
application.
yeah.
So we wouldn't have jurisdiction over those
Okay, I just was
issues.
asking a simple question about equipment.
Right, so you know who the owner is, and also this woman represents them, so maybe you could talk about that separately,
Right,
but we
'cause I
don't
happened
really
to
have
ask the building-
jurisdiction over
There was a
that.
building inspector around that day, and he told me all equipment's supposed to be 10 feet from the property line. Now, I spoke to the builder there, and he says they have no responsibility to that, they had someone else do it, an electrical contractor did an installation on that, so I was
Okay.
just asking questions about it.
Okay,
I
okay.
just wanna know what the deal is, because sometimes they put these things in on corners of properties, whatever they do, and then most of the times they attach it to the structure itself.
Mhm.
So I just didn't know the deal on that.
Building
Unfortunately, that's
department,
not
the
our-
building department would be where you go for that.
I spoke to, that's what they
Okay.
said, it's supposed to be 10 feet from the
Okay.
property. Also, I was just wondering about the proposed garage. They're putting a breezeway that goes between the entrance to the house. If you can see, it's like steps, proposed garage between the structure stuff was detached.
Mhm.
If they could shift it over like a little bit, a few feet over, is that possible? To make it now, so open it up a
So
little
it's an 8-foot breezeway.
bit?
At least on my survey, it says it's 8 feet.
8 feet, if they can make it shorter, they can shift it over a little bit more?
Okay, I'm going to pose that question to the architect.
So meaning push the garage back into that corner?
And also you
Meaning
have a
like-
set, you also have a set of steps behind the garage, and
Well,
that's
the front
pushing.
door is in that back corner.
Right, so
that
you have
inside
two
corner.
This is
entranceways.
the front door here?
Correct, correct.
Ah, okay, all right. So I guess what he is asking is, in order to get a little bit more relief on the side, to push over the garage a bit.
It would really make sort of a
Narrow.
tight entrance.
Yeah.
I don't think 8 feet is extraordinary myself, but I mean,
Is it 8-foot breezeway?
that's what it says, yeah.
Yeah, that's a little wide.
That's the landing for the front door,
Yeah.
right, where the
Yeah, I mean,
back stairs and the
It's not
front.
particularly wide if you're having to load in furniture or
Well,
items. I mean, it's,
You could go through the back, you have those big
Well,
sliders
the-
back there.
The back breezeway is 5 feet, and this is 8.
Well, he's asking
He's
for your
asking.
consideration, and you,
I mean,
I mean, you can still have your cake and eat it too, just make
It
it a little
just-
narrower.
it just makes it a little less of a,
You still
I
have
mean,
your
from a
cook-
design standpoint, it's really not optimal. You don't really have sort of a real front entrance that way if you're hiding it.
Right, how far is your house? Your house is to, if looking at this.
Which side of the property is your house?
Yeah.
The house on
To
that
the
side or
right.
is it
To the
this
right.
To the
Yeah,
right?
to the right.
Yeah,
I'm 22 feet away,
on your property line.
right, from my property. It just, I'm used to having that big grand space, and they were 20, it was like 40 feet away, between it. It was nice.
All right, so this is gonna be 32 feet as opposed to 40.
I'm just bringing up some points.
Yeah, okay, no, I get that.
Is there any
yeah.
landscaping that would help? I mean, I'm not,
I am planning to put shrubbery in.
maybe talk about that with the,
I already spoke to the owners that I was gonna plan to put shrubbery down the property line.
Okay.
And they said that was fine. I'm just trying to make it look pretty and,
I agree, yeah, I mean, this is what you wanna do. This
And
is your home.
I keep the place very, very nice,
Good,
I'm very,
We like that.
She probably seen how I keep the place,
no, it's a beautiful neighborhood, please.
yeah,
No, I'm really on top of it. I keep the places very manicured.
okay, great.
And I've been there for 60 years, actually. I
Yeah.
kind of grew up in the house.
You don't look that old.
I was this big when I was there. I'm the caretaker. And also and then maybe she gets a little, I don't know if it's gonna help her because they have a pool now. They have gates going in, shrubbery. I don't know if it's gonna help her much. I don't know, it's just an idea. That's all.
Is there any plan for the owner of this property to be putting in its own vegetative borders?
That I'm not sure of. I mean, I know we had to do a revegetation plan for the back for conservation, but I'm not
Right.
really sure, what the, say, shared property line would be. I mean, I know that the
Well, I mean,
garage was
it's-
originally positioned, so we were trying to cut down minimal large trees in the front and, but as far as the side, I'm not sure.
I'm gonna do my part and put
Okay.
a rose shrub.
Well, I would suggest trying, we always try to encourage, property owners to talk to each other and try to come up with a mutually agreeable.
Yeah,
plan.
I'm not here to make
No,
make
I
trouble.
understand. You
I'm
have
very
the
respectful
concern
in the
you want-
neighborhood and
Yeah.
take care of it.
they are looking for certain relief, maybe you can work it out with them, you'll get certain trees you want, or plantings you want, work it out.
That's all right. That's all right. I was also, you know, they're gonna put a fence in the backyard. They're looking to put a proposed fence. And what happens, is when I'm very experienced, the water comes over the top because they're low, and they have a fencing there, it could get knocked over in storms.
Not your problem,
No, I know.
not your problem.
I told a neighbor about that, and what he did was put a glass fence around the pool,
Yeah,
which worked out very nice.
okay. Well, that, again, that's not your issue.
I know.
And it's not ours
No.
as well.
I
Do
just,
you have anything you'd like to contribute to the discussion?
I kind of hit all the points.
I really don't wanna make a mess either, cause I'm usually don't care, let's say, but my house is a small ranch, and in front of me, which is,
You've been there for 30 years?
29 Vermont Drive, I've been there for 30 years, and my house had a phenomenal water view. The house is so big that I look out my windows and I have practically no view. No
You
view.
know-
I don't want to make trouble, but
Yeah.
if they could remove like trees and bushes just to give me a little something, because now I don't have anything like I did, and I'm used to that, and it was beautiful. But I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I
You know,
just
it's-
feel a
it's-
little sad
Yeah,
about
it's-
it.
There are certain property rights that people have to develop their property, and sometimes, you know, it does affect, it's a change. and
It's a
hard-
change,
it's
because
hard to
people
get
used to call me the
yeah.
little house with the
Yeah.
$1 million view. Now maybe it's a $300,000 view. And it's a little bit, yeah, it's a little, I don't want to stir up any trouble, but
No,
when
no,
I
we
got the
appreciate that.
registered
Yeah.
mail, I said, let me come and see what it's all about.
Okay.
I was a little sad, but, I'm not going to do
Well, you know,
anything.
And they also mentioned if they don't get it that
Yeah,
way,
you have
they
to
would
be
put
the
it to the
microphone.
front of the house.
It'll be at the microphone. We'll have to get
Oh,
you
I'm
on
sorry.
recording.
Are we ready to move on?
They also mentioned, I spoke to the builders, that if they don't get it that way, they would put it in front of the house. Is that possible?
Well, I mean, that's potentially what could happen because, just because it's in that little nook, if it was moved forward, the setback would be fine on the side, if it was just moved
But
straight
then-
forward, so
But it
we're,
would be in the front yard, you'd still need a variance, because you'd be putting a detached garage in the front
In
yard.
the front yard. yeah.
So
Really?
it doesn't matter whether it's in the side yard or the
Okay.
front yard, you're not allowed to have, a detached
Oh.
garage. It has to have special
Like I was
permission.
wrong.
Right, right.
And it would be closer to the wetland.
It would be closer to the road.
Yeah, and closer to the road.
Okay, let's
You
move
guys
on.
know each other, right?
Yes.
Yes, I
He,
mean,
he has a $2 million view, so you might,
maybe a 4 million, it's stupendous.
My view is not even disturbed by this. I'm just trying to
Okay.
do the right thing around here.
I would suggest that, if you can, talk to the owner and through the architect and see if there can be some agreement in terms of some vegetation plans.
I'll take care of my end,
Okay.
I'm gonna take care of it.
Okay, so, as I said before, I don't see this as being a big request, I think it's minor.
It's minor, so it's,
Yeah, I don't get a sense on the board that people are,
so it'll be, the garage will be built the way it says on it.
yeah.
Most likely.
Okay.
That's why we say, try to work out the landscaping plan, because a lot of times we can make that part of our.
Well, I may have trouble, they may have to take care of their side of the shrubs.
Yeah, well, that's, again, not your
makes sense,
problem.
yeah, that's their property to do that, and
They
you
have
you
to do
could
that.
consider.
I mean, I'll do the best I
cooperative
can.
and helping block
I know, right?
some
Okay,
of that.
Are we ready? Can we
That would be-
move on?
That would be great.
In a
Sure.
I guess
minute.
we ran out of
In a
time.
We have to ask if there's anybody else on.
Is there
No, that's what I want to move on to.
Okay,
Let's go.
Thank you for your testimony.
okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard on this application?
No.
All right, if not,
Okay, Helen,
this is it.
Helen, it's yours.
Helen, it's yours.
Property. I have it's a beautiful, did a beautiful job with architect, and I have no problem with the garage. And we this case of use for written submission to March 21st with a decision on April 4th.
Second,
That should be March 22nd.
March 22nd, Helen.
March 22nd, Helen.
So, sir, what that means, if you want to submit anything in writing, you have till March 22nd to submit.
Yeah, if you'd like
Okay.
to make any changes to the plans, you can submit them, and by that time, we'll take all and make our determination for April 4th.
Okay,
Who
second.
seconded it? Ms. Burgess?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Mastonia?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
number
you
4
also.
on the agenda, 31 Tony Tisca's Path LLC, 31 Tony Tisca's Path, Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-36-1-23.12. Applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for the following. 1, for proposed tennis court, sub 1, Section 330-6 General Regulations that references Section 330-11 Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations for an accessory distance from street front yard setbacks from 90 feet to 70 feet, and 2, Section 330-76D Placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Section 330-83C yards to allow the tennis court to be located within the required front yard of the principal building, and 2, for a proposed pergola, sub 1, Section 330-6 and Section 330-11 for an accessory distance from street front yard setback from 90 feet to 58 feet, and 2, Section 330-76D placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Section 330-83C yards to allow the tennis court to be located within the required front yard for the principal building and any other relief necessary.
The board has jurisdiction.
I think that should read pergola.
Percolate,
Yes, the last one, not tennis.
And
These
it's
originals?
Tony Tisca's Path,
Yeah,
right?
yes, Tony Tisca's back.
And these
Um,
are some of the folks.
Brian, how
Yeah.
nice to see you. Please state your name.
Good
and
evening,
address.
Brian Locascio with the Adam Miller Group, attorney for the applicant, 2462 Main Street, Bridgehampton. As stated, we are here before you for the property located at 31 Tony Tisca's Path. It is a 99,664 square foot lot located on the eastern side of Tony Tisca's Path. This lot actually comprises of lots 4 and 5 on the subdivision map of Anthony E. Tisca Jr., filed in, I believe it was 1985, thereabouts. As a part of that subdivision actually set forth CR 40 zoning. And when this house and this property was originally developed, the owner actually merged lots 4 and 5, creating a 2-acre lot, which now is being viewed as subject to CR 80 zoning due to the size of it. So we proposed a tennis court which meets the requirements for the CR 40 zoning under the subdivision, which would be a required front yard setback of 70 feet from Tony Tisca's Path.
But now it's not.
But it's not because of the size, and that's why I'm before you asking for relief, because we don't meet the 90 that the CR 80 requires. This lot has a significant amount of road frontage, and it's a rather unique shaped lot. There's also some grading on the property where it kind of slopes down off onto the beautiful ag reserve that adjoins this lot. And they designed this tennis court in a way that to kind of build it into the berm where the existing swimming pool is situated. And I will note that the existing swimming pool sits 71.8 feet. So even that in and of itself doesn't conform to the zoning today. So there is an accessory use in the general location where we are proposing. There is ample screening up and down Tony Tisca's Path. I submitted a submission that shows some photos. And there's some very mature trees and landscaping. You actually can't see the tennis court from any point of Loper's Path or Tony Tisca's Path as you drive up towards the property. And similarly, when you're standing on the pool patio, as the bottom photo of my submission shows, you actually can't see out to the street. So it's a very screened-in area, and this is in this time of year when the vegetation's at its least. So this is certainly going to be a well-screened when this property is being used as a seasonal property in the summer. The property will be in part sunken due to topography. You can see the retaining walls on the north end of the property. The lot to the south is a vacant lot. The lot to the east is an ag reserve.
The lot to the south is an ag reserve.
The lot to the south is not an ag reserve, it's just a residential vacant lot. And I was contacted by the 3 neighbors on the west side of Tony Tisca's Path. The owner at 42 Tony Tisca had a couple of questions, but overall, he understood what we were trying to propose, and he did not pose any objections. And the owners at 32 Tony Tisca, the middle lot, and 190 Lopers, the corner lot, they had some concerns about lighting and sound and whether or not this was going to be a pickleball court. And it's not pickleball. We're proposing a tennis court. There is no lighting.
What's the
And,
height of the evergreens abutting the street?
I mean, they have to be at least
Are they mature?
30,
They're-
50 feet,
they're
if not
high.
more. They're high.
Okay.
I mean, they
I know
extend
they-
beyond.
Very thick.
And they're very thick.
They're very thick,
Okay.
yes. Yep.
That was my only question.
And there is other, like ornamental landscaping between that will, sprout in the spring and the summer, so there will be additional landscaping. But,
Brian, why wouldn't you move it further away from the front? Why only 30 feet away there? Is there not?
I mean, it's.
Not
it's a-
able to be
It's the
moved
topography is a big
further
issue.
north?
They're trying to keep the current slope and vista of the ag reserve that our client and all the neighbors benefit from. Because if we try to creep over, we got to regrade, and it kind of goes into the ag reserve. So they're trying to just kind of sink this court situated in where the swimming pool is now. And it's kind of tucked in. You really can't see this area. It's the most screened portion of this property.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the
The
visuals.
pool is not staying. The pool is being removed.
Is there any plan to put a pool in at a later date?
Yes, there is a plan, but it would be up near the house in a conforming location. It's not.
Perfect.
So
So where the pool is, where the tennis court's basically.
more, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we're
Yeah, and you can see
Kind of the slope.
on the GIS.
So
I was at the
They're really not-
location, and it's very, very hidden. I'm not concerned about visuals. Just 30 feet from a residential lot in front of it was my only concern, but
Well, he's not asking for a variance on that.
I know.
yeah, correct. We meet the required setback from that.
Yeah, so
Right,
I'm
so-
fine with
I have no
it.
problem with it.
Okay, so the idea is sunken, 55 by
It's partially
110.
sunken. It's not entirely sunken because of the grade. To entirely sink this core would be a huge undertaking and it wouldn't make sense for this lot. But it is almost one half sunken, and it will be
Keith's not here tonight, but 55 by 110?
55 by
Yes, it is.
110.
Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Right.
Yes. And there is significant screening along the street.
There is.
And no lighting, which was one of the main concerns of the neighbors. So I'm
No
happy
lighting,
to
no
offer that
outdoor
into
music.
any decision you'd be willing to make.
Okay,
Okay, sounds good.
no problem.
All right,
I'm fine.
Any other questions from the board?
No?
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard on this application?
One person.
One person?
You have one
Okay.
person?
Hi, this is Gabrielle Safarsky. I'm at 32 Tony Tiskus Path.
Are you an attorney?
No, I'm not.
We don't visually see you, but I need
Oh,
to,
sorry.
I
Let
need
me
to,
add that.
yeah, please.
Okay.
I need to swear you in. Do you swear to
Okay.
tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah,
Okay, please state your name and address again.
yes, Gabrielle Safarsky at 32 Tony Tiskus Path.
Okay. Okay, what do you have to say?
No, my main concern really was just about the noise. I have no issue with the pergola, just about any noise from the tennis. We do sometimes hear them from the pool, so I would think the tennis would be sort of similar. Visually, I'm not worried about it. It's really just about the noise.
Unfortunately, noise travels a lot out here. We're flat, open spaces, and it's very hard to control that sometimes. I know that for a fact from where I live. So you're not concerned about the setback, you're not concerned about the location, you're mostly just concerned about the noise.
Right, and and if it's 90 feet for a reason, officially, I would think that the extra 20 feet would provide a little bit more, decibel level passing through from there to my house.
That is true.
Is there another location?
Well, how far is your house set back from the road, if you know?
I don't know, it's not unsubstantial.
Yeah.
It's
So
pretty
I don't
much, yeah.
think
You have a driveway and it's,
And we slope down significantly from where the tennis court is to where their house is.
Yeah, my house is high.
Yeah,
Um,
there is, right,
yeah.
it comes up from the ag reserve and it goes up like that.
And I,
Right.
And one of the concerns you said was the viewing of the reserve or the
Correct.
neighbors, so that
Correct.
if you were to push it closer to the house,
correct,
you would block that view
Yep. correct.
of the reserve.
Yeah.
Do you understand what we're
Yes, I
discussing?
understand. I don't think that would be the case for my house, because it is
But it
high.
would be for others. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, the other house on the other side of, at 42 is actually even higher than mine.
It's more so from the Loper's perspective, as you drive down Loper's Path, you see this beautiful, reserve,
Yes.
but,
Okay, well, that's a valid comment, thank you.
and again, we're maintaining the dense screening that's there, so we're not looking to in any way remove any screening that currently exists.
So all those evergreens that are along the path
Staying.
will stay, and they
Yep.
will provide some sound barrier.
Correct.
Okay, anything else that you wish to share with us?
No, that's all.
Okay,
Thank
thank you
you.
very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else on Zoom who wishes to be heard? Okay, whose is this? This is
Mine.
yours, Michael.
Okay, so we'll keep this open for written submissions until March 22nd with a written decision on April 4th.
Second.
Mr. Daly,
Aye.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank
time, as
you.
always. Have a
Thank
great
you,
night.
Brian.
Appreciate it.
Okay, number
Okay.
5 on the agenda, Richard F. Reiner Trust, 611 Narrow Lane, Sagaponic, Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-54-2-46.1. Applicant requests relief from Town Code Section 330-6 General Regulations that references Town Code Section 330-11 Residence Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations to legalize the third story constructed within a one-family dwelling without the benefit of a building permit on a non-conforming lot where a maximum of 2 stories is permitted and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
He's on Zoom.
In fact, that's Susan.
So, Mr. Shapiro is coming in on Zoom.
Yes, he emailed me, he said
Okay.
he's on Zoom, and so is his client, I believe.
Okay?
Hi, good evening.
Hi. Are you an attorney?
Yes, I'm an attorney.
Okay, I don't need to swear you in, but you need to state your name and address, please.
Sure, my client is also on the Zoom, the owner of the house. Did we add him as well?
Yes, let me do you first. State
Sure.
your name and address.
William D. Shapiro, from the law office of William D. Shapiro, 135 Main Street, second floor, West Hampton Beach, New York, 11978. I'm the attorney for the applicant, Richard Reiner.
Richard
Okay.
Reiner, who's we're looking for. Okay, good.
Okay, Mr. Reiner, are you an attorney?
I am an attorney, yes.
Okay, so I don't need to swear you in, so just state your name, please, again, and your address.
Yes, my name is Richard Reiner, and my address is 611 Narrow Lane, Bridgehampton.
Okay, so, William, would you like to start us off?
Yes, good evening, everybody. So the purpose of our application is to legalize an as-built third floor at this property. We purchased the property a few years ago, and the third floor was already finished, and now we want to bring the property into compliance with town code. We've already undertaken some other actions towards that aren't necessarily related to the third floor, but speak to our spirit of cooperation with the town and our desire to have this be a fully compliant property. Right now, the third floor is essentially the master bedroom of the house. Mr. Reiner lives there with his girlfriend. It's not like it's not like the house is packed to the brim with occupants and we're trying to squeeze extra people in. There's no plans to rent this property out. We're not looking to add rental income with an extra bedroom or anything like that. We started this process with an application for an updated CO. We were working with recommendations about the property, which we've taken. One of them was an egress from the top floor, the third floor that we're seeking to legalize. Another was installation of a mandatory sprinkler system, which we've since taken out permits for, and we're obviously just waiting for this situation to resolve before we figure out what direction we're going to go in with that. We previously revegetated the property. It was a little bit over cleared, so that was one of the things I was referencing earlier. I have not, I obviously sent out all mailings and notices to the adjoining landowners. I didn't hear any objection from any. I'm sure if there are, we'll hear from them tonight. I did speak with one of the neighbors who reached out to me, the neighbor to the east, Miss Nancy Dubin. I briefly explained to her what we're trying to do. She had no objection to that. The the bedroom on the third floor, the main window faces out to the backyard as well. So it's not really like, and if you look at the aerials of the property, it's not like there's really any sight lines into anybody else's backyard from that third floor. It's about 180 feet to the front of the house to the south, and that's the front of their house, not the back of their house. So it's not really like, you know, if there were living space up there, it would be creating any awkward sight lines into any other properties or from any other properties to our client. As I mentioned, it's just my client and his girlfriend who live there. It's not a party house or anything. There's not going to be any loud noises coming out of that third floor or any light or, you know, strobe lights or anything crazy like that. If you take a look at the property, the permitting of it, the aerials of it, or just a drive-by, it's a very carefully curated and maintained property. It's quite beautiful. I have to say so. I've been there a few times. And this is really just the final box that we're trying to check to bring the property into compliance with the town.
There is a roof deck up off of the master, is that right? Off of the primary? Yeah.
Yeah, and that, go ahead, Richard.
Oh, yes, the roof deck is actually where the third floor egress attaches to. It was there when I purchased it too. I don't know much about it, other than there is one there, and there are a couple chairs outside.
Okay.
So I have a couple of questions. I believe that when you built this originally, that the CO, I can't find my notes on it right now, but the CO said it was supposed to be non-habitable space, is that correct?
Well, it is correct that that's what the CO said, but we didn't build this. This was
I
not
understand,
self-
but when it was built, it was supposed to be non-habitable space. It now is habitable space.
That is what the CO says, correct, and that's what.
Right,
What year was it built?
79.
That CO, I believe, is
Just
dated
let him answer.
2017.
What year was it built?
That CO was dated.
Not the CO. When was the house built? That was my
The
question.
house built, house was built in.
Because my own investigation shows 2017. Does that sound correct?
Yes, it does sound correct.
Okay.
I believe the house was remodeled then. I believe that to be true.
Okay. So I see.
So there was a significant renovation done in 2017, but I think that the structure predates that.
Yes.
Based on my review of the aerial.
Right, and the C of O that resulted from the 2017 reconstruction is the one that said the third floor is supposed to be uninhabitable space?
That's correct. That's
Okay, so now you're asking us to grant you a variance to legalize a third floor that was only with a C of O for uninhabitable space from not 7 years ago.
Yes.
Okay, exactly.
And how long have you owned the property, sir? Mister?
Couple years.
Couple of years?
Ms. Burgess?
And you have 3 bedrooms on the second floor. And this house is just for 2 people, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
So it's not like you actually need another bedroom.
It was there when I purchased it.
I know, I mean,
That's absolutely correct.
uninhabitable space when you purchase. You're just trying to make it habitable to us by us granting you a variance. And that's what we're here to decide whether or not that's appropriate. That's it.
So if I can just clarify, so you purchased this property a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago? Was it at that time done up as habitable space when you purchased it? Or was it empty space?
No, we did not do this work. It was
Okay.
like this when we purchased it.
Okay, okay.
And the Brown Harris Stevens floor plans that you provided to us, were those the floor plans that were available at the time at which you purchased the house?
I would imagine so, yeah, but, Richard, can you speak to that? I don't remember off the top of my head.
I'm not sure which floor plans you're talking about, your grounds, I do remember getting floor plans at the time, and yes, I guess that those were these. I can't recall that specifically. Are these plans that you have, Will, or I don't?
Right.
Yeah, it's plans that were submitted. I don't know if this is gonna,
Right.
Okay, I recall that.
And when you purchased the property, you could have done a FOIL search, you could have done a research and figured out that the third floor shouldn't have been habitable space, correct?
well, I don't think that this is something that, surprised us. I think this was something that we knew we would have to undertake one day.
So you purchased it with the knowledge that this would be something you would have to do?
Correct.
That's
Okay.
what the purpose of this application. We've actually been working on this for, I wouldn't say a ton of time, but we've been working on this, since we purchased the property, we've kind of put the balls in motion to try to make this happen.
I went to the property. It's beautifully maintained, as you said. It does dip down somewhat from the street level. So it's not up high, it, kind of goes down. But it's a concern, because the C of O said non-habitable space, and we generally do not approve third-story habitable space.
I understand. I mean, we're happy to undertake whatever the board thinks is
What's the
appropriate
total
to
height?
get this legalized. Mr. Reiner has a focus on the safety of the property and, all the factors that are relevant to your determination. We're happy to take any recommendations that would favor your granting this variance.
Do you know what the total height of the structure is?
I can find out in the written submission, but I don't know that off the top of my head. Richard, do you know?
No, I actually don't know. We would have to do that.
I actually might have it on my plans, if you give me a moment.
The height of the structure wouldn't be a concern for me. The concern for me is that you purchased, that the building was significantly renovated in 2017, which was a very short time ago. The C of O for it at that time states that the third floor was not to be habitable space. You've since purchased the property knowing that the third floor was finished in derogation of the C of O, and now you're asking us to provide you with something that is not provided for in the town code. And if we were to grant that to you, we'd had everybody coming through the door trying to legalize a third-story habitable space that they had done illegally. And I am certainly in no position to be a yes vote on that kind of an application.
I agree.
I think this is a tricky application.
So I'm going to make it respectfully less tricky for the board member.
Not to have a third floor.
Yeah.
To convert it back into non-habitable space.
Exactly.
I just want to be clear that when we bought the property, we understood that this was going to be an undertaking. We're not,
Right, so you purchased the violation.
we're not necessarily, well, there is no violation.
Yes, there is. You have habitable space on the third floor with no C of O. That's illegal. That is a violation, so you purchased the violation.
There's no violation of record.
No, there may be no code enforcement, but still, the habitable space on the third floor is illegal.
Technically, everything that comes before the board requesting a variance isn't legal, so that's why we're here.
Well, but yours is pre-built.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're completely missing the severity of the situation your client finds himself in.
Yeah, no, you probably aren't missing the severity. It's just that I don't think that we're in the position to be really, I think what John is saying is that, we have to deal with precedent, and we're not going to be approving people who purchased, particularly if they purchased it and they knew that it was a problem that they were going to have to address. I just think it's an issue.
In recent months, this board has reviewed third floor requests for relief with regard to third floors, but that relief was with regard to a third floor that pre-existed the zoning code.
Yeah, some of them, yeah.
And
we put covenants in
from
to
the early
restrict them.
70s.
Yeah.
And so, the length of time that the violation occurred, that it existed, really does matter. This is a situation, we're talking in the last 7 years. There's no way that I would be a yes vote on something like that.
And I agree with John, when John said, Mr. Shapiro, that I think you keep saying, well, we're coming here to make the situation right. Well, that isn't necessarily what we always do. That people have done something, and then we just legalize it. So I think that's the point that John was trying to say to you, Mr. Shapiro.
I understand, I understand.
All right, so there's no way we can correct a situation that cannot be capable of being corrected.
It was anticipated, and they said no.
It's habitable or not.
Michael, did you have something you want to comment?
Okay, are we moving on?
Not yet.
No, not yet. There's no secret that this floor plan from your real estate firm has that listed as master bedroom. So somebody was not paying attention or was hoping that this was going to be okay. I personally don't have that much of a problem with it, but it doesn't feel like, doesn't feel like you have, especially with fire sprinklers. But the chair is right, this could open a big window for us that I don't know that we're willing to take on. And habitable space doesn't mean, I don't know what the definition of, you might want to check the definition of habitable space. It's not, I don't think you're gonna have to tear the whole thing out, but.
It could still be used for storage, you just have to remove the bedroom.
Right. The C of O, your own application identifies the C of O as permitting third floor non-habitable unfinished attic space. So whatever unfinished
attic
means,
space.
which probably means you have to rip it down to the studs.
Okay, there you go.
And but as you just stated to the board on the record, you purchased this with the knowledge of this problem.
And as John said, we have dealt with third floors in the past that are pre-existing from way back. And we've put very strong covenants in about, that you can't renovate, you can't add to, any taking down the houses or whatever. It's not a guarantee that you'd ever be given a third floor too. So we've been very strict about third floors, but it's generally, like you said, from pre-existing.
From 30 years ago,
Yeah.
50 years ago.
And particularly egregious in this case is that the C of O says non-habitable space. And that's, for me, that's really an issue. Looking at the house, it doesn't bother me because it's not enormously high. It's very vegetated. It's not an intrusion. It's well kept. As I said, the property slopes down, so it's, but I just have a concern about setting a precedent, particularly with the short time frame of the renovation and the explicit C of O.
I agree with the chair.
I agree with Mike. I don't have a problem. It's just gonna set a bad precedent going forward just grant third stories, that people are just gonna go build and then say, we'll deal with it later on, so.
Absolutely. And
And
build,
it was particularly stated non-habitable space.
right, exactly, and do it in the face of
Everything else.
specific documentation saying you're not allowed to do it.
Yeah.
And then
gonna
we would have the
encourage-
problem of having, denying future applications and fielding Article 78 proceedings.
It's gonna encourage every builder out there just to build a third story, deal with it later.
We have enough problems with pre-built and after the fact attempts to legalize things.
Right, right. And that in and of itself is not a reason to turn down an application, the as-built aspect. But this is
Explicit.
pretty explicit in terms of, so I think at this point, I'm going to ask if there's anybody in the audience who wishes to be heard on this application. Is there anybody else on Zoom who wishes to be heard on this application? Okay. All right, this is mine.
Susan, it's yours.
It's, I don't know, you want to be creative and come back, you can come back, but I think you're getting the sense from the board that, we have some issues with this.
I'm, go ahead. I was gonna say, no, I understand. I would like the opportunity to possibly come back. I'm not in a position right now to say what that would be. I hear everything that you've said. I can't say I knew everything in advance, but I understand your position, and I'll discuss it. And if you
Okay, Richard,
want to
so
come
why
back,
don't we adjourn this application,
that would be great.
and give you an opportunity to come back?
Well, what are we coming back for, though?
He
I
may
mean,
have,
What creative thing could happen?
I'm willing to hear if he wants to come back.
I understand that, but I think that for the purpose of economy, what are we coming back for? It's either habitable space or not habitable space. There's no amount of habitable space that's going to change the equation, it seems to be.
We were asked if we want to come back, and we respectfully do. So we want to do a little more research into this, see if there's maybe any cases in our favor. And we want to come back.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, you want to come back in May, April?
I think May is probably good.
May 2nd?
May 2nd or 16th?
Okay.
May 16th.
Ask him, the second or the 16th, just give him the.
We have
choices.
2 dates in May, May 2nd, May 16th. Do you have a preference?
I have a preference for the 16th, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually better for me too.
Okay. All right, so you heard what we had to say, and you understand what you're up against, so. All right, so I'm going to propose that we keep this application open and we adjourn it until May 16th.
Second.
So,
Okay,
Thank you, I appreciate your time and feedback tonight.
okay, Mr. Leonard,
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Oh.
Ms. Burgess.
Vote for me.
Okay, chair votes aye.
Wait,
Okay,
were we
thank
supposed
you.
to open it up to the?
Oh, public? We did, yeah, there's nobody.
I did, I asked.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't.
No, I did. I asked
blanked.
Zoom, I asked audience, I did it all.
Okay.
Moving right along.
Covered the gambit. Our chair.
Okay. Adjourned. Okay, moving on to number 9 on the agenda, West Hampton Boat Works and Storage LLC, 401 Montauk Highway, Weog, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-370-1-5.1.
Just give me a second to find my vote list.
Take your time.
It's in his.
Find your,
Okay.
find your center console.
You gonna put a third floor on this?
Fourth. We're actually trying to go for 6th floor.
Okay, Mr. Benincasa, you just need to state your name and address again, and I believe we did swear you in, didn't we?
The last time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you're still sworn
It
in.
stays.
He was
So
sworn
will
in.
you if you just would both state your name and addresses again?
Sure. Carl Benacasa, 860 Montauk Highway, Watermill, New York, for the applicant, Tom Downing. Tom Downing, 128 South Country Road, Remsenburg. Now, if you recall, we were here based on an application to modify a 2006 variance, which identified pre-existing commercial use in this building, which is a non-conforming building, but we're not here for any dimensional relief. Pre-existing non-conforming use, a commercial use in this building. The variance was granted in 2006 based in large part on the affidavit of Thomas Mitchell. And I am actually, forgive me, I'm distributing the research that we've done since we were last here.
Okay, so if I can just clarify, Carl.
Sure.
You have decided not to go to the town board for a non-conforming to another non-conforming use, and you have decided to come to us.
To clarify, we have decided to seek your, a determination from this board one more time. We have not foreclosed the decision to go to the town board if necessary. But we wanted to just fill you in on the research, as we promised we would have done last time,
Okay.
and make our pitch.
At the last meeting, it was requested that we find the affidavits. We had to foil those and.
And to find the original zoning code, which
Yes.
took more time than anticipated.
The E-Business District?
That's right.
Yeah.
So just to refresh the board's memory, originally, this is in the R20 zoning district, but originally, in 1957, this was in the E-Business District and was developed prior to that point, but certainly used during that point as a commercial property. Specifically, this forward building, a portion of it is was and is now used as in a retail capacity. Just to give you an idea of the area, in case you're not familiar, it's also right down the road from West Hampton Beach's commercial district, across the street from a hospice. So this area is, as those of you who are familiar with it know, that it is a rather, it's on Montauk Highway, it's a commercial.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, although zoned R20, it is a commercial area and has evolved that way, due in large part to pre-existing uses, and again, the fact that under original zoning, it was a business district.
You could have a golf course on it.
You could, in a
Could have.
small
Once
course.
upon a time.
A pitch
Could
and
at one point in time, yeah.
Miniature golf.
Please, don't bring that up. Don't suggest it.
So, under the original zoning code, which we were asked to get, and now you have in your packets.
Okay.
The E-Business District allows for a use that is, oh, and I gave away my highlighted one.
Here, you want this one here? Right
Is
there,
that
it's
highlighted?
down on the bottom,
Yeah.
middle bottom.
No, that's not what I did. It's number 6 is the one we were talking about. When you're in the E-Business. E6 calls for shops and stores for the sale of retail of commercial merchandise and services. That was the conforming use pre-zoning, and that is the use being undertaken today. For some reason, when this board issued its variance back in 2006, while noting that, first of all, relying on Mr. Mitchell's affidavit, which specifically states that it has since 1940 to the present, at that time 2006, and we can note for the record today that that is carried on until 2024. It has been used for the sale of consumer goods at retail, such as boats, boat accessories, including flags, bikes, lawnmowers, and bikes accessories. But noted generally that it's for the sale of consumer goods at retail, which fits perfectly with the permitted zoning under the 1957 zoning code, E6. So, it was a permitted use then, it has stayed that way, it should be arguably under code and under law, pre-existing nonconformity in that general retail capacity, both in line with the code, with how it's actually been used, with the express wording of Thomas Mitchell and the affidavit that this board relied upon in rendering their decision, and strangely, in the actual decision itself, which notes that it's for the retail sale of flags and other equipment, which is a general retail use. For some reason, and the reason we're here today, in relying on this decision, the building inspector issued a certificate of occupancy that limited it to a flag store, which I don't know what a flag store is. I've never been to a
Well,
flag
that's what the
store.
variance says. It's not what the building
Yeah,
department, they didn't just
variance.
randomly come up with that. That's what the applicant asked for, that's what the zoning board issued.
Well, it's, the zoning board determination says, for the retail sale of flags and other equipment. So does a flag store include other equipment?
Oh, you're saying the other equipment
And
language
what
was
is other
left out?
equipment?
What is that? So basically, my client has this store that has CO'd for sale of flags. And but the zoning, this board in 2006 determined that in addition to flags, it can sell other equipment.
Well, it's likely that it was related to boat showroom, offices, boat repair facility, boat storage.
It's not tiles, which is what is currently in the spot, right? The tile store.
There is it's a tile store with other fixtures and home
Yeah,
repair.
yeah, but it's
countertops.
not what I would consider equipment. I think Katie's right. I think the reference is to, equipment related to boating. Can I ask, when was this building built?
The building, it was, I think, the 30s, some of these buildings were built.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. The ZBA decision talks about them. Building A, some of them tells you when they were. Building D was built in 1971, Building E was built in 1961 to 62.
Some of the
Building F was
yes.
built in
All right, so,
1953.
But we're only talking about building A here today.
All right, so,
Countertop guy's been there for a long time, hasn't he? Been there for a while.
He has, I mean, how long have you owned it?
3 years.
He was there before that.
But he's
well.
there for a long time.
all right, when was building A built?
Building A was built, again, we're relying on this affidavit. The one story was built in 51, 52. The property was owned by my father, it was carved from his family. I acquired title of the property in 58. So he's saying that the building A has been used continuously, to his knowledge, I can't tell you that this is when it was built, but since 1940, in subsection 8 of his affidavit.
Okay. The reason I'm referring to that is because, the original pre-zoning was 1957. So if you're looking at E6 to justify, a larger retail capacity, I'd like to know that, in fact, the building was existing at that point.
Oh, yes, according to the affidavit, since 1940. And then in 1940, with the new zoning, it actually became a conforming use as general retail under the zoning code in e-business. So our proposition to this board, first, the glaring issue is, was the authority of this board taken away by the Town Board Act a few years ago, where it took the right to change from one nonconforming to another from this board and gave it to itself by legislation. That, for a new application, I think there's no question that that's the case. Does that apply to a situation like this, when we are asking to clarify or modify a previous determination? I saw nothing in the code that would have taken that away. And the original jurisdiction to modify or amend an application generally rests with the board that granted it originally. And
I think when we met the last time, though, we were talking about how this couldn't really be considered a minor modification. I think that was the position that the board had taken at that time because of the flag and related boating aspect of the variance. So,
Well, the question, we're asking you to rely on, and that's why, we're asking you to rely on the information that the board had at the time, and nothing more, and that is consistent with a general retail use. The affidavit upon it relied says, sale of consumer goods at retail, such as boats, boat accessories, including flags. Now, in 1957, sale of consumer goods at retail, that permitted use under the code, had no qualifications other than sale of consumer goods at retail. So using that knowledge that the board relied upon in 2006, combined with the understanding of what the code was in 1957, can this board, using that information, interpret that the use in 1957 was E6, and as such, that should be the pre-existing non-conforming use? Now, any change in use from one retail to another will require planning board approval, likely site plan approval, all of that. It's just what is the zoning use permitted under this? And I think it's clear that this was a retail use when zoning was initiated. When it became initiated, it became zoning was instituted, it became a conforming use as a E6. And that is the appropriate pre-existing non-conforming use, because it has been in continuous use as that retail, use since that time it became conforming. That is our argument. Our authority, we believe, stems from the fact that this is asking to clarify, based on information that was available when the decision was issued, to clarify and amend that the decision should have found that the pre-existing use was that E6. And that because of that, you can address your prior decision without invoking what is now the town board's original jurisdiction. And that's our position. And I think your attorney's probably gonna wanna
Well, and
consider
not
it.
just the attorney.
I don't have to consider it.
Huh?
I don't have to consider it, it's whether the board, I mean, I think it's a stretch, I think it's a stretch.
I do too.
You don't get the non-conform, you don't get to look at a pre-existing non-conforming use and then find a section of the town code that fits it at the time. The non-conforming uses are very specific, they're identified, this was identified in 2000, whatever you said, 6.
2006, yeah.
And no, at the time, the applicant was represented by counsel, and not once was he like, oh, no, it's supposed to be more. I mean, that's my position. I mean, I know what you're saying. I know you want to try to slide it through there because it's sort of in here, but the town board was pretty specific about changes in non-conforming uses.
Yeah.
This is a change.
And the other part that is somewhat, I would view this more strictly is that it's in a residential area now. I agree that maybe there are businesses close by, but if it's still in a residential area, and, I think we have to look, carefully at that,
Well, it's a residential zone. I wouldn't, if you drove there, I wouldn't think you wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah, I mean, you have a.
It's not far from residential area.
It's
close,
true.
But there's a junkyard across the street, a little bit down the road, there's a auto repair store, there's Strebels, a laundromat,
There's a hospice center
there's a
across the
hospice
street.
center, the laundromat, and then the car wash as well. There's also a dentist. So in that small stretch of highway, there are several businesses, and I feel that the town, when they changed the zone, they made a very broad stroke through that area and said, this is all gonna be residential. But I don't think that that's really fair to the property owners that had businesses that they maintained, like Strebels, like the auto repair place, even the junkyard, even though probably people would agree that they say they don't really want that near residential, but they have the right to continue that use. I also just wanted to add that the flag store, it doesn't come up in the table of uses. I mean, the town gives us this table of uses to follow. And even what code enforcement has told me when they come is they said that it's not in here. It's not in the table of uses.
Because it's a pre-existing non-conforming use. I mean, you're not gonna find a store for, lawnmower parts in the table of use. I mean, it's a consumer use that was identified in the 2006
Well,
application.
we feel that it falls under the general merchandise stores, which would be 5399-3. In what was described to
Yeah, the general retail use is still a use under today's code.
I think that if it said a candy cane store, that you can't, that it's unfair to say that you can only sell candy canes there. And I believe that that's what's happening.
The point was that the variance was very specific in what you could do with it.
But it's good for the
Yeah,
dentist.
and it refers to
Good for the
current
dentist,
uses
the
at the
candy
subject
canes.
property. That's where I'm getting tripped up.
Go
What?
ahead.
The decision itself says, "We therefore direct the Southampton Town Building Department to issue a pre-existing certificate of occupancy for all structures and current uses at the subject property."
I think that's what Katie's point is.
That's what's tripping me up.
Why?
And to your concern about residential, it's CO'd as commercial. So it's permitted commercial use. We're just talking about,
It's pre-existing non-conforming commercial uses.
well, I'm talking about it's CO'd as commercial.
Sure,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not, yeah, it's pre-existing.
Permitted is the wrong word, yes. It's CO'd.
John, why does that trip you up?
Because
It's limited to what the use was at the time this decision was entered. So we've kind of built in what the use is. And now to say,
Special use.
okay, it's no longer a boat showroom, boat repair facility, flag and other equipment store, which is clearly related to boating.
Yeah.
And now, okay, we're gonna put in a tile shop. That's what gets me.
Or maybe not a tile shop, maybe something else. like
It's
that's
now gonna be a
retail.
McDonald's. It's now gonna be,
No, but I-
But we
card
have a lot
store.
of pre-existing restaurants, right, or delis. We don't get so specific. If a deli starts serving pizza, they don't have to come back here.
Right, but that's two types of food.
Well, this is two
It's-
types of retail. That's our point,
Yeah, but
merchandise.
retail is bigger than food.
Yeah.
You know, if you said two types of flags or two types of boat equipment, okay, but, you know, we're talking about,
We're saying it's two types of merchandise.
yeah, I know.
Which
We're
is
having
like
some
two types
problem
of
with it.
food.
I understand.
I
It's,
mean-
the other part of this is that I don't think that the town boards, that it's, so for example, we go and we get the town board to say that we can have a tile store there. All right, that's gonna take some time.
Well,
And then we have,
to get the pre-existing nonconformity is what you're saying.
Right.
We'd have to make the same, well, we'll talk about
The
it.
same
Yeah.
argument in front of the town board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, you wouldn't, I wouldn't say specifically tile store, you don't wanna create another problem for yourself, say
Right.
retail business.
Retail business.
I mean, you know,
But
if you
they
go
may
to-
ask you to be more specific. I mean, this
Unless
is
they
the
do,
exact
yeah.
kind of application this board used to listen to all the time, under change from one nonconforming to another. And they were always, the simplest ones were very benign.
But
'cause
was it retail to retail?
Yes, the place in
I
North.
mean, most of them are, I'm sorry to cut you off.
The place in North Sea that just went to the town board was the one right on the corner that was like a lawnmower shop, and now
Right.
it's a sign. It's a
Right.
sign and t-shirt place. I mean, that's retail. That's general consumer goods. That
And
went to
they
the
went
town
to the
board.
town board.
Were they a mechanic or were they a
I
seller?
don't know. It was the place right on the corner by the daycare on North Sea Road.
'Cause
North
I've seen, like,
Sea
clubs
at the
to-
start of Major's Path, that.
Like an old
that
restaurant club to a.
Triangle there.
Yeah, to a mini golf. I've seen that change from one to another, you know, there's,
Not before the town board yet.
no, I'm.
But that's my point. I mean, the town board saw one for Dan's Papers. I just pulled it out because it was like the variance was very specific. They had commodity brokers, exchanges, insurance office, that's what they were allowed, and they wanted to put Dan's Papers in there. Well, I mean, like, they could probably have looked at the town code and been like, those are all permitted uses in the, you know, whatever, the.
HB.
Or, you know, the D residential zone back in 1957. I mean, it's not that it's an offensive change, it's just, it's
So are you
changed.
feeling that we don't have the authority to do what they're asking us to do?
I'm concerned. I'm
I mean,
concerned
you know,
about it.
they specifically wanted this responsibility.
They took it away from
took
us.
Yeah.
They took it away from us, so, I mean.
They did.
And your reluctance is just timing, it's gonna take so much time.
Well,
I just like you better.
And
Obviously, we're not liking you as much right now.
It's also that, you know. You have so I look at the table of uses and, okay, let's say we go for floor covering store, I think is one of the uses. But then, you know, that tenant leaves and we wanna sell wallpaper, it's almost the same, you know, it's very related, but
Yeah, I
now
know.
we have to go through a political board to try, and flag store is just so specific, I think, and it's not in the it doesn't show up in the code.
Yeah,
I own another piece of property that was listed as produce stand, and I ran into the same thing. produce stand doesn't show up, and all we asked for was something that follows the code. I think that's what
But
we're
they're
asking for.
non-conforming uses, you're not gonna find them in the code. You're not gonna find a
Right.
sand mine in the code. You're not gonna find, you know, that's why you're limited. You know, you want a blanket commercial zone, you need a blanket commercial property.
Well, I mean, you can have a tile shop somewhere in the town.
Sure.
It's not non,
It's a
it's not an
that's a permitted
unlawful
use.
use.
That's a permitted use. He has a residential zone, he's talking about non-residential uses. There's a whole bunch of them
Right, and
listed.
there's the rub.
And are you asking, I mean, this property, I've been going to this property since I was a kid. But, and this property is pretty complex. You have like 6 structures on it.
Everything's CO'd and, yeah.
All of them CO'd, and your intent is just to change the
Just-
merchandise that you're selling from there, from flags and other equipment and boat supplies, to something else, to
Just-
tile.
Yeah, we're
Right.
looking
But I
for
think
something
there's different
more general.
entrances, right? I mean, they're like.
Yeah, there's
a
all-
couple of entrances
Yeah.
to that building that they could be putting different things in there.
I
There's
purchased
two-
the boat shop. I honestly have no problem with it, but I tend to agree with Katie. I don't know if we have jurisdiction to do it. I have no problem with what you're doing, and the tile store's been there a long time.
Right.
I bought at the
Right,
boat
right,
store, I've been in the shop there, and
Yeah.
I just don't know if we have jurisdiction to do it.
What
What's
about as a amendment to it or a modification of a previous determination?
Flags and tiles.
I'm just saying, if you're modifying a previous determination, do you retain original jurisdiction? That's the question. Maybe I can find you some
I
research.
don't see it as a modification. I don't see
Do you
how
see it
this
as a
is.
change?
It's absolutely a change. There's gonna be a brand-new certificate, pre-existing certificate of occupancy issued, correcting something that this board issued in 2000, again, whatever it was.
2006.
That nobody complained about from 2006 to 2023, saying it was incorrect. Saying, oh, wait, it was supposed to be flags and other,
Tiles.
whatever. I mean,
Equipment.
Because
Can't
it
you
was a
sell some
tile
flags?
Yeah,
store.
no, that's-
but I mean, you know,
Yeah.
that's somewhat problematic.
You already have 4. I mean, people have
For what?
flags.
Sell some flags.
They're probably flags for going up a mast or something, you know, like, you know, sailing flags. I mean, that's
Tiles with
probably.
flags on them.
Now, these were always.
I have no problem with it, but I don't know if we
I
have
understand,
jurisdiction to do
yeah.
it.
Well, I mean,
Okay, well, this
maybe,
was the first
yeah, I mean, this is
place
your
we
first.
felt that we should,
yeah.
we felt
Okay.
that.
Well,
Maybe
what's
we
the
can
risk of us
obviously make it
moving
different.
forward and it being incorrect? What's the risk of that to the applicant?
I don't know. I think the risk
Could it
is
be
more
an
to.
enforcement
Yeah, I don't
action?
think it's a risk we want to take. It's a
No, I
risk.
understand. I'm just, I'm just
I don't
laying
wanna
out
take
what the
that.
risk is for, so that the applicant can think about what it is they want to do here.
Oh, I don't.
If we were to issue a modification and it was invalid,
One of the neighbors would appeal it, and then
Arguably, I mean, I'm not sure anybody's gonna appeal it. I think
I
it's
mean, I
more
think
just, it's a bad look for the
The notice
ZBA.
of,
Yeah,
your notice of claim with
That's
no
my
one would
problem.
Yeah,
file.
I don't think the risk to the applicant is huge at all. I think that's what Carl's suggesting, figure out a way to do it and, you know.
I'm not suggesting you break the law.
We had some,
I'm
you
not
know,
saying
we
break
had
the
some
law.
pretty heated discussions with some neighboring properties over the years, so, you know.
It could come back to that. You
People
know,
look.
I think your point about modification versus original jurisdiction, you know, like a new application. But, you know, I'm going by what Katie is saying at this point, and she's our counsel, and I tend to, I support that. So, I mean, I think it was this very specific, you know, request asked for in 2006 and granted, and I think that, you know, we have to go along with what the town board wants the jurisdiction on. So
took it
that's-
away from us.
I did. And I know you're making some good points, but I'm reluctant, let me put it that way. I
And
just
maybe
think-
they could change it to a broader category, which would serve you
Well, I would definitely
going
not go
forward.
in with tiles. I mean, you know, go in with a more generic,
Yeah,
you know,
general retail.
So
Yeah,
that you
'cause-
can,
And let them
and they would
narrow you.
understand that. I mean, I can't imagine that they wouldn't understand that. I mean, you know, not every, you know, like at one point, Blockbusters was a big thing, and now, you know, if you had just gotten a variance for Blockbuster, I mean, you know, you couldn't fill the store. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying. It's like you have to be more generic about it. All right.
Okay.
So we're
Thank
not
you for your
moving
time.
forward quickly on this one, if, you know. You
I
wanna
think
leave
at
it
this point, we
open, or-
close the hearing and then we'll decide. Do you want to adjourn?
Let's proceed.
I mean, it doesn't sound like we're moving, I mean, it sounds like the board is,
I don't think
So
we
we
have
have-
So, I mean,
I don't
the
think we have
question is, do
jurisdiction
you
to do
want to
it.
withdraw? Well, can we close the hearing and then if it's a
You
withdrawal,
decide if
we'll
you wanna
communicate,
withdraw.
yeah.
Okay, I mean, you know, and again, we're not trying,
No,
we're not
that's
trying to
not.
be, we're not trying to be nasty about this. I mean, you know.
Yes,
but
we are.
No, we're not.
We're just trying,
no
we're trying
third
to
story.
respect who's got the responsibility for making these
Yeah,
decisions.
and you bought it just recently, you know, a couple of years ago, and you knew it was unclear, I assume. So,
yeah, I figured it's commercial, it's a pre-existing,
Right,
non-conforming commercial use. It had a recent CO, it wasn't a CO from 1972, so I felt that it was,
Right.
but then we had a enforcement action.
I don't
is
think,
that right?
generally, I don't think we have a problem with it, I just don't think we have jurisdiction to change it.
But,
Right, right.
you did have an enforcement action
Yes.
on it, okay.
Okay, even more so
Sell
then,
some
I
flags.
think, yeah. Okay, so you want us to, this was Adam, so I'll take it. You wanted to close the hearing, we leave it open for written comments until March 22nd, with a decision on April 4th. And you will-
Second.
You will let us
You want
know
more
if you
time
want to
than that?
withdraw that or whatever.
They might be public goes here.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak on this application?
I'm not saying that, but you could ask.
I'm sorry. Is there anyone on Zoom who would like to be heard on this application?
There was someone from the Flag Store Union, I think they wanted to speak.
The
Okay.
Flag Civic Association.
Okay, so I move that we,
Second.
okay, close the hearing, written comments by the 22nd with a decision on the 4th of April.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye. Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you.
There you have
Thank
it.
you, gentlemen.
Bye, Tom.
Bye-bye.
Never easy, right?
No, that's.
Never easy.
Okay, number 10 on the agenda is Todd Getz and Deborah Getz, 21 Dogwood Street, Noyak, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-5-4-41.
Alrighty, good to see you all again.
Good.
I don't like
Again.
being last,
So
right?
we've sworn you in, or?
Yes, the last time.
Okay.
Yep. Again, for the record, it's Todd O'Connell, architect, doing business at 1200 Veterans Highway, Hopog, New York. And I'm here representing Todd and Deborah Getz.
Okay.
So, the last time I was before you, we had several items that we were looking for some relief on. If you remember, we came to an understanding that, or at least it seems so, that you were on board with all the requests except one, and that was the volume. We significantly reduced the volume from what was before you on that day. We originally had a request of 6,532 cubic feet, and we brought it down substantially to 3,871 cubic feet. Good. We did that by lowering ceiling heights, lowering roof lines, reducing the size of the second floor. Took it to a minimum. Todd and Deborah Getz, they lived here since they were kids. You know, their parents still live there, their family lives there. So they're really just trying to get, this home where it could ultimately be their permanent residence.
So, excuse me, so you went from a total pyramid encroachment of 6,532 to 3,871.
That is correct.
And you've got the plans to show us.
Yes, I do.
how that-
I do.
And how you accomplished that, okay? And you
Yeah.
did it through reducing the ceiling
Ceiling height.
heights and
And
reducing the
roof lines.
size.
Yeah, we pulled the sides in on both sides. Originally, we were flush with the sides.
Made it smaller.
We lowered the roof line, kind of brought them down much lower. We lowered the ceiling height to bring that down. So it was a substantial reduction that we.
What's the ceiling
did.
height at now?
8 feet.
I'm okay with
Did you
that.
submit those beforehand, or are you
We
just
have
bringing them
not
now
seen
for the
that.
first time? We have
Yeah.
not seen them.
No, I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, yes.
Was that in
yes.
They were in
our
our submittals.
That's in our submittals?
Yep.
Okay, 'cause I
I'm
was-
okay with the revisions.
Yeah, it's, I mean, we really tried, you know,
Could I
it's,
see, do you have a copy of that, that you could give me
Is
right
there
now?
some-
you could give my, I marked them up a little bit, but you're welcome to take it. Absolutely.
Because I'm not,
Did they come
Yeah.
tonight with our submittals?
I'm not seeing that.
Sure.
I'm not sure.
John, what's the date on the plan that you have in here?
I did not
These
get.
are
Okay.
dated
It's right in the middle.
December 18,
Which
23.
That's the last thing we have in
that-
correspondence.
That's the
That would
last
be
thing
the
I
last
have
one then.
correspondence.
Yeah.
Is that the last?
Yeah, it has the new pyramid. It has the elevations.
Did we get
No, that
copies
might
of
be
this?
John, can I see what, that might be the, I don't see that I have
Yeah,
anything.
this is
from-
one I got with the middles.
Yeah, I don't see that I have anything from 2024.
Yeah, we don't have anything in the correspondence from 2024.
Yeah, so we need to
That's fine.
see those, yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
that-
Carlos and my office sent them over to you, because I know that's why we adjourned it from the last one, because he
Yes,
didn't
no,
have
that
it.
was- The
So-
cubic feet were a little bit
Sure.
out of our range.
And that is not insignificant for this area, and these size properties, 3,800 is still quite significant. But, you know, we'll see how the rest of the board feels.
Yeah, there's some other houses in the area. We did look at some of the character in the area. There was some, you know, larger two-story homes. There was one on 161 Noyak Road right near here. And actually, almost in concept, it looked almost very, very, very similar to what we're proposing.
Yeah. that's
So, you know, so we did feel that, you know, that there were several homes in the area that were all two stories. I know the last time, you know, there was a concern that there was a lot of older cottages, but we did find, you know, quite a few newly renovated second-floor homes. So I understand, you know.
There
it-
are, yes,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right, there are.
Yeah. So, you know, I kind of, when I was here the last time, we really tried to, you know, tweak it as much as we could. There were some numbers thrown around that we really tried, we actually, you know, I tried to work it even less than what numbers were thrown around at that day, but, and this is the number we came up with, so.
So, Todd, it looks like, whoever submitted the plans, they didn't change your revision date? Cause I received these on February 22nd.
Ah, okay.
So you do have me in submittals, but I don't,
Yeah.
'cause, I didn't add up the numbers, but I think John is saying.
Got
I
it.
did, I added up the numbers and then
are
added up
accurate,
to 38
but I
Yeah,
didn't change the
okay.
date on the plan.
There you go, I see it, because the one I'm looking at has the old date on it too. So,
Okay,
yeah,
so
you're
we
right.
get-
So they are the
so
same
I'm
ones,
just-
good.
We need a set with the correct date.
Just with the date, but you do have, you have that, but it's, I just gotta put the date on it, got it.
Yes, please, thank you.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
okay, so.
I'm
the-
looking at this, I don't think that, as revised, it's out of character of the neighborhood.
So let's just go back to what we need to approve here.
Sure.
So you wanted to reduce the front yard setback, side yard,
By an inch, right?
right.
It's, again,
Very
because it's
small,
existing,
yeah,
right,
Yeah, right, okay. So the big part was.
was the volume, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and all the other dimensions are the same,
Yes,
correct?
correct,
Right.
it's really just the
So-
pyramid.
I-
We worked with the roof and the height of the house,
Right, right, and that's what you changed, but the rest of your request is
correct.
still accurate, okay. Well, I think you made a substantial correction, or a substantial
tried hard.
adjustment. Yeah, no, you did, and I appreciate that. I think that it really, I think it's really notable, and I have no real issues with it. I mean, it's a little high for what we normally do approve, but appreciate the fact that you've come down almost 3,000 square feet,
Yeah.
cubic feet.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I agree, I'm okay with it on the higher end, but I
It's
appreciate
definitely
the,
on the higher end.
appreciate the
Yeah,
efforts that
Yeah.
went into
Yeah.
get it
I
down.
think the numbers, what last time we were spoken about is that you really never go over 4, so we made sure we're well below 4.
We have no rule.
No rule, I know that.
There's no
I know.
rule.
It's-
Case by case.
Yeah, exactly, it's just, you
But
know,
also, looking at the neighborhood, it would not be out of the character of
No,
this
just
neighborhood,
the
and that's,
style,
I
yeah.
think, really the
Well, Mike, you were
crucial.
saying it might be out
Yeah.
of the character, but you're not sure, okay. All right, is there anyone in the
Thank you for letting me
audience who
finish
wishes to be
speaking.
heard on this application? Is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard on this application? Okay, so this is John's.
Yes, so I move to close public hearing on this. With written submissions by March 22nd and decision by April 4.
Second that.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye.
All right,
Thank
great,
you,
thank you
Todd.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Have a
Yes,
great
thank
night.
you.
It's been a
Good luck
pleasure
with
working with you all.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good.
Susan, this is the revised I had to fix.
Okay. What was revised?
The Farrell one.
Okay.
Oh, so, and that's,
Okay, we're up to decision. So, Mike, you have the decision from the minor variance.
right,
and
I have the decision for the minor variance for 11 Watermill LLC, Suffolk County Tax Mapper number 964-3-6.4. This application is for property located at 11 Watermill Heights, Watermill. Applicant seeks a minor variance to construct a proposed addition to an existing dwelling. This application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief from Town Code Section 330-11, Residential Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, for a principal rear yard setback of 94.6 feet where 100 feet is required for a proposed addition to the rear of a one-family dwelling as shown on the survey prepared by Michael Hemmer, LSPC, last revised January 2nd, 2024, and the plans prepared by Mark C. Matthews Architecture, PC, last revised December 20th, 2023. Grant of the foregoing relief is subject to other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premise.
Second.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Aye. Chair votes aye. Okay, I have two decisions, and then I have the court decision as well. I have a decision in Yellow Shack LLC, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-391-2-21. This application is for property located at 651 Dune Road, West Hampton. Applicant seeks to modify variances previously granted by this board for construction in a coastal hazard area in order to accommodate a new septic system required by the county. As the modifications increase the setbacks from the crest of the dune and reduce the footprint of the dwelling and proposed pyramid encroachment, this board finds that the application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and Town Code. Therefore, decision number D022127 is hereby amended to grant relief from Town Code Section 330-84D, pyramid height, in the amount of 2,983 cubic feet, 1,314 cubic feet on the east side, 1,669 cubic feet on the west side. As shown on the site plan prepared by architect Nicholas Anthony Vero, last dated February 26, 2024, and the pyramid diagram prepared by Nicholas Anthony Vero, last dated January 30, 2024. All provisions and conditions of decision number D022127 remain in full force and effect.
Second.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
Aye.
Mr. Macedonio?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess? Chair votes aye. Okay, I have a decision in the Brian Farrell as trustee of the Joseph G. Farrell Jr. Irrevocable Children's Trust, UAD, March 22nd, 2012. Suffolk County Tax Map 900-40-3-41.1. This application is for property located at 1056 Sag Road, Sagaponack. Applicant requests variances to construct a single-family dwelling, pool, and attached garage on an undersized, triangular-shaped lot with significant road footage. Applicant has agreed to plant screening trees to mitigate any impact on the nearest neighbor whose dwelling is over 150 feet away from the proposed development. This application passes the standards set forth in New York State Town Law and the Town Code. Therefore, this board grants relief from the following provisions of the Town Code. 1. For a proposed two-story dwelling, Town Code Section 330-11, Resident Districts Table of Dimensional Regulations, for A, principal front yard setback of 25 feet where 80 feet is required. 2, principal minimum side yard setback of 12 feet where 30 feet is required. And 3, principal rear yard setback of 15.41 feet where 100 feet is required. 2, for a proposed in-ground swimming pool, 1, Town Code Section 330-11 for an accessory distance from the street front yard setback of 35 feet where 90 feet is required, and an accessory rear yard setback of 11.04 feet where 30 feet is required. And 2, Town Code Section 330-76D, placement of accessory building structures and uses in all districts, and Town Code Section 330-83C, yards, to allow the swimming pool to be located within the required front yard for the principal building. And 3, for a proposed detached garage, 1, Town Code Section 330-11 for an accessory distance from street front yard setback of 25 feet where 90 feet is required, and an accessory rear yard setback of 10.13 feet where 30 feet is required. And 2, Town Code Section 330-76D, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in all districts, and Town Code Section 330-83C, yards, to allow the tennis court to be located within the required front yard for the principal building. These variances are granted as shown on the survey prepared by John M. Ambruzzo, PLS, last revised February 2nd, 2024, and the floor plans dated April 26, 2022, and the elevation plans dated November 23, 2023, both prepared by architect Will Minier. The grant of the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises, including the planting and continued maintenance by the applicant and all successors in interest of 18 20-foot green giants as shown on the aforementioned survey.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
No,
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Okay, and then I have one last. This is got to do with I have, in the matter of the applications of Anthony J. Dreyer, Phyllis Dixon, Bart Dixon, Jennifer Doyle Lennox, and Roy Lennox, and Michael K. Marion and Bobby Lynn Grund regarding premises located at 1205 Majors Path, North Sea, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-78-1-20.1. Whereas the subject premises is located at 125 Majors Path, North Sea, Town of Southampton, County of Suffolk, New York, and is identified on the Suffolk County Tax Map as Suffolk County Tax Map number 900-78-1-20.1. The premises is comprised of 20.270 acres in an R60 zoning district. And whereas Anthony J. Dreyer, Phyllis Dixon, Bart Dixon, Jennifer Doyle Lennox, and Roy Lennox, in addition to Michael K. Marion and Bobby Lynn Grund, the applicants, made applications to the Zoning Board of Appeals to challenge the issuance of the pre-existing certificate of occupancy number C190097, dated April 2nd, 2019, for the pre-existing non-conforming use for the receipt of natural organic waste, trees, brush, stumps, leaves, and other clearing debris on the premises. And whereas the ZBA held public hearings on the application, and by decision number D02244 dated June 18, 2020, denied the applicant's request, finding that the pre-existing certificate of occupancy was properly issued, filed, and remains valid. And whereas the applicants commenced a CPLR Article 78 proceeding on July 17, 2020, challenging the ZBA decision. And whereas by memorandum decision in short form order issued January 31st, 2024, the Supreme Court, Suffolk County Honorable Vincent J. Martorano, JSS, found and determined that the ZBA decision was not rationally based and annulled said decision, remitting the matter to the ZBA for revocation of the pre-existing certificate of occupancy. Now therefore be it resolved that in accordance with the January 31st, 2024 memorandum decision and short form order of the Honorable Vincent J. Mortorano, JSC, this board annuls ZBA decision D020044 dated June 18th, 2020, and hereby revokes the pre-existing certificate of occupancy number C190097 dated April 2nd, 2019, issued for the property located at 1205 Majors Path, North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-78-1-20.1. And be it further resolved that the ZBA will not file a notice of appeal or make an appearance challenging the aforementioned January 31st, 2024 memorandum decision and short form order of the Honorable Vincent J. Mortorano, JSC.
Second.
Mr. Leonard.
Aye.
Mr. Macedonia.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Okay.
Motion to close.
All in favor?
Second. Whack it.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor, aye.
All, motion carries.